Welcome to everyone who has attended. My name is Martins Chikudera Anumene, and I am an event officer at Report Out. Information about this event and this recording will be found on our YouTube channel after this event. If you would want to check back on it, we give you a very warm welcome. Report Out is a global human rights organization for sexual and gender minorities made up of almost 100 volunteers in 40 nation states. Uh, Report Out researches, monitor, and record human rights abuses against sexual and gender identity minorities. We then use this data to educate the public and campaign for social justice. So that is just a brief summary of what Report Out does. Um, the title of our event is Living in a Time of Hate, a Decade of Nigerian Resilience. It is about Nigeria's LGBTQ community. It is about the reality, resilience, and renewal of spirits of a community that has faced increasingly hostile, increasing hostility and discrimination. How we go from just surviving to living. So, to get us started, I would love to introduce our body of panelists to carry us through this conversation, who are all experts in their various fields in different sectors of advocacy and activism in Nigeria. Uh, we have barrister Chizelu Emejulu, who is founder and executive director of Minority Rights Watch, a legal facing human rights advocacy organization based in Lagos, Nigeria. We have Miss Aliyah Baana, a policy aligned advocacy person, um, who is reaching us from north of Nigeria. Hello, Aliyah. Nice to meet you. I didn't say hello to Barrister Chizelu. Barrister Chizelu, wave at us, please, so that we can know you. Uh, we also have Jeremy Ayomide Alimi, who is a content creator, an organizer. Uh,
Okay, apologies for the technical error that just happened, and I'm here to carry on from where Martin stopped, and we're going to introduce we're introducing our panelists, and I know I have seen okay four of them are here, beautiful, great, and I know Alia is from the Equality Pathway, and her pronouns are she her, and she's a team lead. Alia, can you just tell us hello? Just can you turn on your camera and tell us anything about yourself, please, if you don't mind? Thank you, Alia. All right, before she comes back, let's move into Jeremy. Jeremy is okay. Okay,
Okay,
all right,
so
she's here. Thank you.
thank you very much, and good afternoon once again. My name is Aliyah, and I work for the Equality Pathway. It's called CAP for short, and I'm the team lead for the organization. I oversee every of the projects from Equality Pathway. What we do is we cater for gender and human rights, sexual reproductive health and rights, and also we ensure mostly trans people and the non-binary persons. And currently we do educations, which is more of like the tech scholar that on technology. We train young persons on innovations and technology. Yeah. So thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Alia. Alia, please, if you don't mind, we'll need your camera very soon. Well, anyways, let's move into Gab-Cliton. I know his pronouns are they, them. He's executive director of Think Positive, Live Positive, and Support Initiative. Am I correct, Mr. Gab-Cliton?
Yeah, you are.
Offor.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
can you tell
fine.
me about just tell
Yeah,
me about yourself and what you
yeah, definitely. I'm Gab-Cliton by name, and I'm the executive director for Think Positive, Live Positive Support Initiative. We are a youth-led focus organization focusing on LGBTQI, young LGBTQI persons who are living with HIV.
Can I just
Uh,
cut you short? As in, you're a bit fast. I didn't really get your introduction. If you don't mind, just be a little
oh,
slower. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
okay. So, like I said, we're on a youth-led organization that is focused on young LGBTQI persons who are living with
Okay,
HIV. And our goal
okay,
is to see how we could also support the 1995 goal by 2030 to ensure that young LGBTQI persons that are living with HIV are also part of the history in terms of bias oppressions and also in terms of also any quality of life that might come regarding the SDG goal and also the UNAID goal by 2030. Yep, and also
okay,
I currently I own a degree in computer science, and I also work for a tech
okay.
company where we make tech solutions regarding health for young people. Also, thank you.
Thank you very much, Gab-Cliton. You're welcome. You're welcome to report out. Thank you. And on to next, we have Barrister Chizelu Emejulu. The guy who said I've been bugging him, I've been disturbing his DMs. Anyways, his pronouns are he, him. He's the director of Minority Watch. And I don't know. Tell us more about yourself, Barrister. Tell us more about yourself.
All right. I don't add barrister to my name. My name is Chizelu Emejulu. I'm
Oh,
a private legal
apologies,
practitioner,
please.
based in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm also the executive director of Minority Watch. Minority Watch is an organization
Okay.
of lawyers and paralegals committed to the protection and enforcement of the rights and dignity of LGBTQI persons in Nigeria. And
Okay.
we try to do
Okay.
that through legal research, legal intervention, strategic litigation, and stakeholder engagement. And I'm happy to let the group know that Minority Watch just celebrated their third anniversary yesterday. So we are 3 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. On to our last but not least, Mr. Jeremy Ayomide Alimi Ayomide Oluwatobiloba. Am I correct?
Oluwatobiloba.
Okay, okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the corrections. His pronouns are he, him. He's the founder and executive director of the Nexus community. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
So please tell us more about yourself, please.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Jeremy Ayomide. Um, I am a student of the Lagos State University. I am a content creator. I am also the founder of the Nexus Community Nigeria, which is an organization that focuses on creating safe space for more safe spaces for LGBTQ plus individuals. We focus on advocacy and so many other things like that. Yeah, that's a summary, basically.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Please, Aliyah, if you're there, please turn on your cameras. We need to see your beautiful, cute, beautiful faces. Please don't mind. I like seeing fine, fine faces. Oh yes, I do. This is report out. First of all, this report out, and you want to report out is a volunteer-led organization based in the UK, Newcastle precisely, and we have volunteers all around the globe, from Africa to the Europe to Australia to Asia. Literally over 100 volunteers report out. We have trustees, so just plenty, Sha. And anyways, this is a Nigerian thing. Aliyah, you're welcome. This is a Nigerian thing. So we will not be wasting time. We'll go straight into the questions. Um, I just want to know, first of all, Barrister Chizelu. Can I call you Barrister Chizelu if you don't mind?
Just call me
Yes, I want to
Chizelu.
always include your title. Okay,
Yeah.
Chizelu. All right, apologies. Chizelu. Um, um, what are the Do you have any personal experience on the discrimination and employment or healthcare issues with queer persons, with LGBTQ persons, discriminations? Have you handled any so far, like discriminations, um, employment, health, accessing, and all that of queer persons? Tell us your experience, please.
All right. So I've handled quite a number of such cases. A number of them
Okay.
are still in court. And what, in my experience, what I've noticed is that the discrimination, they don't come so barefaced as to say that they are doing it because this person is LGBT or queer. They try to find a roundabout way to do the discrimination. So in my experience, they go through the angle of health status, right? So they know that this person is queer, and they also know that this person is someone living with HIV. So what they do is to come from the angle of, oh, we have done a test on you and we have found that you're a person living with HIV, and on that ground we are going to dismiss you. You are going to lose your employment. And they do that regardless of the fact that there are laws in place in Nigeria that prohibits discrimination in the workplace on the grounds of persons living with HIV, or on health grounds, which is also HIV. And there are even constitutional provisions that prohibits that, but they still do that anyway. And also when it comes to, so this is what happens if they get you into the door in the first place. They get you hired and then discover. But for people who are, like I say, obviously queer, by mere looking at them, corporate spaces do not want to get such people employed, which is why what we see most often, that people who are either openly gay or who are, by their mere appearance are deemed to be queer, do not work in corporate spaces because the corporate spaces in Nigeria do not want them. So so we've got a lot of pending cases in court. They are going through the usual delays in court. One is due for judgment. It was due for judgment as lately as last year, and the judgment is not yet out. But we hope that the judgment will be delivered anytime soon this year.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. I just have another thing to chip in. It is I think it's 10 years for the SSMPA that was passed in 2000 when was it? I think it was 2014, right? I think it's
It
10
was
years now
signed.
then.
It was signed into law in 2014.
Okay, it's more than 10 years then. More than 10 years apparently.
So it's 11
Correct?
years in January.
11 years. This is like more than this is like more than a decade of criminalizing homosexuals and lesbians and trans people and basically sexual minorities. Am I correct? Um, how has the legal term been for these subjugated minorities? How has the legal world been for these subjugated minorities? I would want an experience that we can tell, we can experience. You've experienced basically, yeah.
So first of all, I would like to say that it is not just 10 years or 11 years, as the case may be, of criminalization. It has been much more than that. The criminalization did not start in 2014. It started way back to the colonial times. All right, the colonials, brought the law that criminalized people, and it did the criminalization by criminalizing sexual activities, specific sexual activities. So that what we saw in 2014 was a further criminalization, right? So it was a criminalization of marriage, relationships, and criminalization of associations for the purpose of speaking against the criminalization. So people gather to have adult conversation, to do advocacy, and you criminalize them. All right. And then a criminalization of public expression of affection. So this was what happened in 2014. And this thing that happened in 2014, it's not as if there is an epidemic of queer people that led to this criminalization, because if it were, within those 10 years, we should have seen a number of convictions. People should have been convicted, and they had the opportunity to convict in 2019, and the state, they bungled it in 2019 in the case of the case of the 359 young men that were arrested in Lagos State, and they were charged to court for public display of affection. 59.
Can I cut you? Can I come in here? When was the arrest and how was the legal proceedings for these 59 people
Okay,
arrested in
so the
Lagos?
arrest took place in 2018, and they were detained in prison pending prosecution, and the prosecution started in 2019. And up to 2020, they could not call evidence, they could not lead credible evidence to convict them. And then in 2020, the court struck out the case for want of diligent prosecution. So the point is that they had the opportunity in 2019 to convict based on the SSMPA, and they failed. So the point again being that the law is totally irrelevant. It has not served the purpose for which it was made. But to answer your question more specifically, it has become a, 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 a kind of the government telling people that they have a license to attack people they don't like. So the law became a license for people, for non-state actors to attack queer folks. In fact, both state actors and non-state actors are now using the law to attack people. And that is what has been happening from 2014 till date. So that you can do a host of things on queer people and say that it is the law that is empowering you, right? Jungle justice, it is law that is empowering you. Stop and search, you stop people, you want to search their phone, you see something in their phone and you demand bribe money, outrageous sums of money. You say it is because of the law. And yet there is no provision in that law that empowers you to do what you are doing, right? So as I stated, the law, the SSMPA prohibited specific things: same-sex marriage, same-sex relationships, organizing, and public display of affection. These four things. But a lot of things, people jumble a lot of things. Then so what people do is to criminalize stuff in their head and then cite the law that it is the law that is empowering them. So that's the legacy of this law. That is the implication of this law. It's empowering extrajudicial punishments. It is empowering jungle justice. It is empowering criminality on the part of state actors and non-state actors.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chizelu. I keep trying to call you barrister. I will not try it so that you
You
don't
get
sue
it?
me. Anyways, thank you. Anyways, this is one question. Please let me summarize it in 3 minutes. Sorry, in a minute, please. Not 3 minutes. In a minute. What is SSMPA? What is SSMPA? I want to know. Yes, please.
So the SSMPA is the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, which was
Okay.
passed by the federal legislature in 2013 and was signed into law by the president in 2014, January 2014. And that law criminalizes the obvious same-sex marriage, same-sex relationships, queer organizing, even though there's a judgment that has declared that part unconstitutional. And then it also criminalizes public display of affection. But this law,
Thank
it
you
is
very
important to state that this law does not criminalize sexual activities between persons of the same sex, but it only criminalizes these four things that I mentioned.
We'll get back to that in just a minute. Thank you very much, Chizelu. Down to Aliyah. Can you turn on your cameras, please? You there, Aliyah? I don't think she's there. Okay. Um, Jeremy. Am I correct? Sorry, Gab-Cliton. I know you're into the health.
I'm
Okay.
here. Can you hear me?
Aliyah I can hear you loud and clear,
So,
Aliyah.
so because of the network, right? So one
Yes,
have to
please.
either I don't know. My network is really terrible, so I'm trying to accommodate the video call and the audio call at the same time. So I don't know if it's okay. I maybe use the mic and mute my camera, or yes, because it will be
All
more
right.
easier for me. If not, my phone will just explode.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you, Aliyah. Thank you very much. So please go ahead. Remove the cameras. Thank you. So Aliyah, please, I want to know first of all, what is it like to be a trans woman in Nigeria? What is it like to be a trans woman?
Thank you very much. Well, that was so nice. I think, um, what is it to be a trans woman? I think there's not really a big deal to be a trans person in Nigeria or trans woman in Nigeria. However, we all know that trans people face discrimination, and it's very hard to you for a trans person to conform to the societal construct of a man and a woman, or somebody who is transitioning from male to female, and a lot of vulnerability, a lot of things, right? However, there is also this strength that you find when you are really living your authentic self. And there's this pride, there's this aura, there's this beauty that comes with you finding inner peace for yourself. So it's like more of like 50-50 give and take. For some persons, it's a different story. Anyways, I will tell you for free that it's not easy for me. I think Gab was at some point part of my story, and if not, Chizelu also know how all of these things come
Wow.
about, and it is not
So it's an
easy.
in-house
I
thing,
will
I
tell you,
guess.
kind of, yeah. When I
It's
said, I was
an
like, you know
in-house
what,
thing.
this is like, yes, kind of. So it is not easy at all. It is not. Yes, and at some point there is this whenever you conform to the societal norms, it gives you this privilege of a cis person, right? For example, me now, I'm currently in a restaurant, and because of my house, I don't have really have like full network, so I have to be in a restaurant that is kind of cool for me to have this call, right? So, and I'm very much covered, and people do not really see, like, people just see the outer part of you, like what you present to be, and they admire your strength and your beauty. You get so nobody will see. There's no trans woman on my forehead or on my body. You understand? And it gives you this. Okay, this person is passable in the binary context. So, what it is to be a trans person? I will say that it is called struggle, which is being so relentless. I'm sorry for the night for the background noise, and it is
It's okay.
called
It's okay.
self-worth and also resilience, because a lot of persons have passed through this journey but could not survive it. A lot of persons have detransitioned. A lot of persons have continued a transition journey. A lot of persons have been mobbed, raped, killed, and also a lot of stories. So being a trans person in Nigeria, it's kind of very hard, like very hard. I feel comfortable having this conversation with you in this kind of space because I realize that okay, the language I'll be using to maybe translate or communicate will be very much not I'm not gonna say that people do not understand me, but finding the context will be very hard, right? So I'm just saying this now because I'm in a space of my own, like kind of, but yes, we keep going. It's called beauty, it is called resilience, it's called power and pride. So they just keep matching. If you fall on the floor or on the ground, you get injured, you maybe get the bruises healed and you continue the journey because it is what you are and it's who you are and you're valid for that. Yes. So thank you. I hope this helps.
It does help keeping you, Aliyah. I'll come back to you, Aliyah. Thank you very much for this. Now back to you, Barrister Chizelu. Just this question. Thank you very much. Um, Miss Aliyah, who is trans, she's not part of the SSMPA. Am I correct?
She's not what?
She's not part of the SSMPA laws. Am I correct? Like she's not part of it. There's no trans. It's just Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, and there's no trans person.
Correct.
But why
Correct.
is she a target? Why is she a target? Why is she experiencing what she's experiencing, even if she's not part of the draconian law?
So my guess is good, just as good as yours. Um, I would say that it is the phobia in the society that is the problem, and people are struggling to legislate their phobia into law. And don't forget that in 2022, there was an attempt to amend the SSMPA to include people like Aliyah, right? Because they have gone through the law and they have seen that it does not prohibit trans people. So they were conscious about doing that. It just that it failed, right? It failed and we are happy that it did. But yes, there's no law as of now that criminalizes trans people. And that's a very important thing for everyone to know that in Nigeria as of today, being trans is not a crime. In fact, there is a judicial pronouncement on that as we speak, right? There's a case that was decided by the High Court in Abuja that even though the matter so it was about people that were that outed themselves. They did the Me Too challenge. There was a challenge that they did on social media. They said, I'm a lesbian woman," and all that. They outed themselves, and they went to court because they feared that the police was about to violate their fundamental rights by arresting them. Now, when the matter went to court, the court held that they could not prove that their fundamental rights was breached or about to be breached. And then the matter was dismissed. But then the court made a pronouncement that as far as he knows, and the state of the law as of the day he made the judgment, that sexual identity or gender identity is not a criminal offense in Nigeria. What it means is that being trans alone is not a crime, or being queer or being gay or lesbian is not a crime in Nigeria. So until they pass a law to that effect, nobody has committed a crime. Aliyah is not committing a crime by being herself.
Okay, now this question is for Gab-Cliton. I know you're more into the health sector. Is that correct? Am I correct, Gab?
Yes, yes, you're correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Please, what is the prevalent? What is the prevalent, or what is like the regular the regular health challenge the members of the LGBTQIA plus persons face in Nigeria? Is it stigma? Is it discrimination? What is the basic health challenge? Where is it coming from, basically?
So the basic health challenge is definitely has to do with Nigeria as a whole, right? So even Nigeria itself, everybody are having challenges when it comes to accessing quality healthcare. So it's general, right? But one of the
True, true,
basic
true.
health challenges that LGBTQI people face most times is actually ranging from mental health because of the religious biases, the cultural biases, the societal norms, societal construct that comes with it. And so when you are faced with these challenges, the only first uh, primary health challenges definitely that you would definitely fall into would be mental health breakdown, right? It could actually be suicidal, depression, anxieties, and just anything that has to do with mental health. So those are the basic mental health issues that LGBTQI persons literally face. Another one also comes with the range of sexual transmitted infections that has to do with when we talk about comprehensive SRH, which is sexual reproductive health and rights services. So when I talk about STI, this is because of the discriminative law. And so because of that, most LGBTQI people find it difficult to access safe sex commodities and then engage themselves into unsafe practices in terms of sex, in terms of what's not. And in that way, they most times expose themselves into sexual transmitted infection. It could be HIV, it could be syphilis, gonorrhea, and the like that, right? That is also one of the challenges again that come because of those discriminative laws that comes with it. And another one could also be family planning, if I put it that way. A lot of LGBTQI persons really want to understand how family planning could work for them. Actually, most of them, let's say the lesbian community, both side the queer community also want to even understand how does surrogacy work. The gay community wants to understand how does surrogacy work, or how does IVF work. How can I give birth to a child without getting married to a woman? And so, because of the whole discriminative laws and policies and all that, it's also difficult for queer people to access these health things, which is also an health need at that particular time. But one of the basic or the most important or primary has to do with the mental health. I don't know if you could hear me.
Yeah, I heard you clearly. I heard you clearly, clearly. Well done. I still have a question for you. I still have a question for you, Gab.
Thank you.
So now everything is still falling back to the to the laws, to the SSMPA laws. That's what's making everybody have this mental. But I think everybody, let's be honest, everybody in Nigeria has some little of mental illness. Let's be honest. Is that everybody we know well somehow,
Yes,
somehow,
obviously.
somehow, especially in Lagos, nobody will.
Definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, what is really peculiar to queer persons in terms of the mental health? Is it depression? Is it anxiety? What is it?
Uh, I
Did you
think
get my question?
one of the things that is peculiar most that we've seen so far has to do. Yes, yeah, I do. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's breaking, but I can hear you still. Go on. Oh, I think there's some freezing right
Can
there.
you hear me?
There's some freezing right there. So we'll come back to you. Just hold on. Now, Mr. Jeremy, we'll come back to you, Gab-Cliton, in just a minute. Can you hear me, Mr. Jeremy?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Um, can you tell us some cultural and religious practices that has sort of enhanced this hate, this bigotry, this fear, this thing that once you see a queer person, you just want to stab him, you just want to kill him,
As well.
you feel he's below a human being. Is it religious? Is it cultural? Where is it coming from?
All right, I think culture and religion actually have a huge role to play when it comes to the discrimination and the hate that LGBT plus people face in Nigeria. And that is mostly because these factors or these institutions portray us as immoral and devoid of any humanity and morality whatsoever. So, for instance, now in Nigeria, like I think Chizelu said, at the time when the SSMPA was passed, there was no epidemic of queer individuals in Nigeria. The law was put in place to basically erase us from existence because I think if you look at the average Nigerian right now, you ask them, "Oh, do you know any gay people?" They're like, "Oh, are they like homosexuals in Nigeria? Are they transgender people in Nigeria? Are they like non-binary people in Nigeria?" Because they have never had to see or meet any of these people. Yet they have all of these preconceived notions about who we are, what we are, and why we are who we are. So the religious and cultural factors actually have a huge role to play when it comes to again how people see us and why they humanize us. Now, taking it back to let's say the colonial period, prior to um, colonialism in Africa, while we don't really have a lot of documentation when it comes to queer rights and queer representation in Africa at the time, one thing we do know is that it wasn't treated as an epidemic and it wasn't looked at as weird. We have cultures, for instance, in the Hausa culture, we have a lot of androgyny going on there. We have men who put on makeup. And before this, we had kings in Africa who had both male and female concubines and were very very vocal about it, and there was like no problem. But with colonialism came Christianity and came Islam that then portrayed queer people basically as devoid of morality, as less than, and then just give people these ideas about us. And even in present day, when you try to like inform people as to this is who we are and this is why we are who we are. They tend to not believe anything you're saying and instead resort to that, authority that is their religious texts and also their religious institutions. That oh no, this is what my Bible has to say about who you are. This is what my Quran has to say about who you are. This is what my church has to say about who you are. I think these are the factors that really play a huge role in how LGBT plus individuals are viewed in present society. So, and I think even with the SSMPA law, it was really put in place just to impress the people and just to, I think, put Nigeria up there as like a religious country or like a country that, abides by religious morals and values. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Thank you very, very much. So now, are you saying like there were queer persons before colonialism, and they were openly, and they were there, and they were very okay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that the queer people out there like back then were like out and proud and everything, because then again when it comes to Africa we don't really have a lot of documentation of our history. However, prior to colonization, there were really no records from what we do have of people being criminalized or hated because of their sexual orientations and gender identities. I mean, we have ancient Egypt for it. It was actually a norm for most people to practice homosexuality and most people to engage in homosexual behavior without having that prejudice accompanying that behavior. And yeah.
So now, are you debunking the myth that homosexuality is un-African? Is that what you're saying? Is that the conclusion of all you're saying right now?
Homosexuality is everywhere. Africa, Europe, India, like Asia,
Are you
this
sure?
is everywhere. Yeah, it is.
All
It's
right,
part
all
of
right.
our,
That means
yeah, it is
it's
a
a
human
human
phenomenon.
phenomenon.
Exactly. So we are everywhere, right? We are everywhere, and it was, and I think the issue again is just like strong people are the majority, and people tend to fear what they don't understand, because again that's why we have been homophobia. They fear us, they don't understand us, because a lot of the times where I have personally spoken to people, let's realize that way. I have never seen this from this aspect before. I have never gotten to know or hear of this issue from this aspect before. I've always been fed this information that, oh, some people are choosing to be who they are, and they are evil, and they are immoral people. When we even have some people who are priests, we have some people who don't even engage in any um uh engagements whatsoever with anybody. So basically, what I'm trying to say in a sense is that queerness is both African and it's a human experience.
Can I add
Thank you so
something?
much.
Can I add something from a legal perspective?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so about queerness being African or not, I will only add that if it was not African, if it was not found here, the colonials wouldn't have taken the pains to criminalize it. If they came here and they didn't see, they wouldn't have bothered taking all those, putting it in their laws, right? It was because they saw something on ground that they took the pains to criminalize it and insist that it should be there, right?
Exactly.
So it's even in the absence of any record, but we know that there are records of some of these cultural practices in the African culture where I come from. Igbo people, they are where wives marry wives. And people will say, "Oh, this for the purpose of continuity of the family." Yes, we agree. But two things are evident from that. Traditional practice encouraged same-sex marriage. Call it whatever, but it is a same-sex marriage. That's one. And number two, if the two wives decided to have sex in their rooms, who cared? Were you the one to police them? They could have done it and it could have been legitimate, right? And in fact, there was no need to record it because the pre-colonials, Africans, didn't think that it was important. It wasn't a thing. It was not something to worry yourself about. You've gotten married, you've gotten married, you are trying to prolong the family, the lineage. So whether you're having sex with your wife or not is a non-issue for them. So yeah, it is very, very African. Very African.
Now back to you, Jeremy, please. I just want to ask this final question from you, Jeremy. Are you a person of
Uh,
faith? Are you a Christian or you're a Muslim? Are you a Muslim? Are you a pagan? What
uh,
faith are you, please?
I am right now. I am an atheist. I did grow up Christian. Ironically enough, this because
Oh,
at
the
the
network is
time,
still freezing.
you know,
I didn't get what you just said. Please, can you be more audible? Are you there?
hello.
Hear me? Hear me? You there?
All right. I said, yeah, I can hear you. I said right now I actually identify as an atheist. I am not religious. I did grow up Christian, and I was explaining about how ironic it is that I was born in a church in the middle of a church service. But for me personally, I had a huge should I say, inner battle that I had to deal with when it came to reconciling my faith with my sexuality. And to an extent, it just led to a lot of self damage for me. Basically, I had to like compromise myself, compromise my identity. I hated my community just so that I could fit into the expectations that society and like also my religion had for me. But ultimately, I think it was brought down to the fact that I realized that I could not be in a religion where my identity, where something that was a fabric of my being was criminalized and looked down on. Because I think there was even a day where I went to church, I had my head braided, and the pastor at the time just turned the sermon that had nothing to do with homosexuality. So, oh, homosexuals are dirty and they don't have the presence of God in their lives and this kind of things. And for me, I was baffled because the people that have known me since I was born and literally watched me grow up and mature into adulthood, and you literally know every aspect of my being. How then could you stand there and look me in the face and call who I am dirty and worthy of condemnation and torture? So I think for me that was the turning point where I realized I couldn't really stay religious anymore. I feel a lot of queer people have been able to reconcile their religion with their sexuality and that has worked out for them. But for me, it just did not work But yeah, that's the submission.
All right. Aliyah, if you're there, please, can you just tell me you're there, Aliyah? Are you there, Aliyah? Aliyah? All right.
Yes, I'm here. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Aliyah. Aliyah, have you reconciled yourself, the trans person, and your fate? And I think you live in the north, I guess. Am I correct, Aliyah?
Yes, I do live in the north. I stay in Kano.
Kano.
Yes.
Tumbingiwa Kano. All right, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes. And how have you reconciled being a trans person to your fate?
Well, thank you. So I feel that faith is a personal connection with with what you believe in, right? So being a trans person does not really invalidate that I am going to be a less Muslim or maybe a higher Muslim, or I'm going to be in the superior heaven as we all are hoping to go in. So I would say that being a trans person and also being very religious, because I'm very, very religious. That's one. And I'm a scholar in Islam. So all of
Really?
these things come together when I
Wow.
come to realize, yes, I'm an Islamic
Wow.
scholar. So
Whoa.
if you see the intersection that comes with, okay, knowing what you do and understanding yourself better and knowing that this what you're doing is very much correct. So before now, the time of the prophets, we used to have people who they are called al-mukannas. So this set of individuals are they are trans people that stay within the prophet's house. So
Okay.
the prophets have multiple wives. So this person's walk
Mhm.
in his house, stay in his house, and do everything in his house. The prophet do not allow a cisgender man to stay in their house. However, trans people who are called al-mukannasun are persons who have um, less attraction or do not even have attraction for women at all. You get, and do not dress in the conforming situation during the time of the prophets. So if you go through all of those things, because of at that time we don't have all of this necessity, all of these materials, let's say eyeshadow, powder, and other clothes that you wear that will make you look more comfortable. So for now, with civilizations and everything, you're also trying to also nail into those tradition, not tradition, to those religion things that we used to forget. So before now, trans people have been existing in the time of the prophets, and he did not for once send them out or tarnish them from his house or tell them not to stay. However, there is a clause. So this clause is what some of the scholars are using to invalidate trans realities and experience by saying that the prophets send them out. So he did not send them out. However, he something happened. A scenario happened. One of the trans persons within the house of the prophets sexualized a woman and was telling a man. So the person was like an intermediary, and the prophet get to know, and that was highly a taboo, so highly taboo and highly a very very bad deed, like a sin during the time of the prophet. So the prophet now asks those persons at that time to leave his place. So, but before now, these people are already existing. They're doing well, and they are the persons who work with the wives of the prophets. So just like saying quietness is on Africa, no, because even in our space in the north, there are also this set of individuals that work with the emirs, that the persons who bring food to the emirs and help the emirs with things that are more secretive, personal, and also more official. So yeah, reconciling with my faith and my religion is more of like saying, if heaven is the goal, I'm going there, because you can't invalidate him because you think God is supposed to think like how you're thinking. So he's the person who creates you and know you before yourself. And also, I used to tell people that um, he only sees your heart, not what you wear, because already in our holy book. Can I quote from the Arabic?
Please go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So it's called Inna Allah Ta'ala La yanzuru ila ajsamikum وَلَا إِلَى صُوَارِكُمْ وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ وَأَعْمَالِكُم. It means um, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Lord, Allah, do not see what you wear, how you look, what you say, وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ, but what he sees is your heart and the humanity you do. So that is how you love your neighbor, how you adore other persons, how you affirm them, how you want to be a good person to your next person or to your next neighbor, how you do good deeds. Your heart speaks well for your personality. So and some persons are forgetting that now judging a trans person because of what they're wearing or how they appear, it's very, very, very bad Islamically, right? So Allah sees your heart and what you do. So I pray 5 times in a day. Allah sees my heart. So tell me who is going to heaven? The person judging me, right? So that's how it is. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, yeah, this question will go back to you again. So sorry, I'm bringing you back in. Yes, beautiful. Do you boldly tell someone, perhaps maybe a random, maybe a friend you just meeting for not quite long, hey, you know what? I'm trans. Have you ever done that?
Does that add money to my salary or add money to my DT bank all the way?
No,
I
it
don't do
doesn't.
that.
It doesn't like to just maybe like to just I want to take off this weight so that I'm not trying to hold something
There
you've
is no
never done.
weight. Your response, yes, there is no weight. I'm sorry to use this word. Your security is a responsibility. Well, why will you do such thing? So as I said earlier, when you were asking me to define who a trans person, it is a struggle. It is a process. It is life. People are out there to notice. So you have to close every loopholes. You have to ensure that you clean, you appear, you reduce, you minimize. You learn from other cis person on how to carry yourself as a woman because this is what you choose and the path you're struggling to be, or you're already in that position. So telling somebody you're a trans, to me, I used to tell my friends that I don't think that is necessary. People should get to know you better and you ask them. Because I used to, if I meet you somewhere, I just randomly use this risk assessment question to ask you, oh my God, I have a friend, my God, very pretty woman, and she's a trans person. She's so beautiful and pretty. Oh my God, the person would not, okay, really? What happened to her? So you get to understand their emotions and you know how to, either to disclose or you just keep moving and everything. And let me tell you for free, this man love has been trans. So
All right, I'll take that. I'll take your word. I'll take your word. For now, I'll take your word. I'll take your word. All right. Now I want to move to listen to Chizelu. Chizelu, what faith are you? Are you Christian, Muslim, atheist? What faith are you? Really what?
No, I'm not a person of faith. I don't
Okay.
identify
Okay.
with any faith.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So now the only thing that is holding homosexual. Don't use LGBT because you say that word LGBTQ somehow it's a bit soft, or gay is a bit soft, or queer is a bit soft. I want to use the word homosexual. Homo is
Mm.
somehow it's heavy, it's heavier, basically. Yes. And I'm watching my environment. I'm also on the notch. Um, how are you comfortable telling someone or someone saying, as in it's very happens, especially online, like you be homo? What do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel defensive? Do you feel you have to defend all the time? How do you feel when someone says that homo in b, or you hear those around? How do you handle it as a person now, as a person?
All right. So, as a person, my experience is that I've not been confronted like that, right? I've not been confronted like that, and so it's more of, how do I put it? The fear of what is to be said. Like, I've not been, when I was growing up. What I faced was being confronted for being effeminate, because I was
Okay.
more effeminate when I was growing up. So, but not, and then that was in the late 80s and 90s, where this homosexual thing has not started. It has not become, so people will want to laugh at you for being effeminate and all that, but it ends there. But as an adult, it has not been like that. So, however, the the challenge has been with the work, because I've always wanted to do this work. And in fact, that was why I decided to be a lawyer. My decision to be a lawyer far back as 2004. So I will be doing advocacy, and then people will now say, why are you doing this work? Is it because you are one of them? So you see it's lighter. Is one of them? Are you one of them? And then my response has always been, do I need to be one of them before I can do the work? Do I need to be a woman before I can advocate for
Fight for
women's rights?
women.
Do I need to be a person living with disability before I can advocate for? So it's always, I've always seen it. I've always won. I've always come up. I don't know. Not to sound as if I'm bragging, but that argument, they never beat me on it, because homophobia is always narrow. The mindset that constructs homophobia is always narrow. In fact, people are conservative because they are intentionally narrow. They want to be narrow. They want to conserve things. They want things to be the way they are. While liberals want to think broadly, want to expand things. So there's no winning. You are not going to win, right? So what they do is to put force in the argument. But forcefulness of an argument, the force with which you make your argument does not make it right. It must have internal cohesion before it can go anywhere, right? So I've never been worried about such accusations. In fact, the older I get, the people are more careful with leaving that accusation, because now they see lawyer and they don't want to. So when I do my advocacy, they tend to just
Okay.
listen, but they
Okay.
don't come confrontational. And we see it as a privilege. I see it as a privilege that I should use carefully for good, right? Because I acknowledge that I'm a person with some privilege, that I should use for the movement to move the movement forward. If people are not going to attack me frontally, they're going to do it in a roundabout way. It's a force that I should put into consideration while doing this work. So yes, that has been my experience.
Thank you. We seem to have lost Sam and Martins due to some technical difficulties there. Thank you all for joining us for our event today. Thank you very much to all of our speakers for taking part in our conversation and sharing your personal experiences of what it is like in Nigeria. I know I speak for myself and probably many others that it's been very informative. And again, we thank you all and thank you from Report Out. As you'll see going along the bottom there again, if you would like to donate to Report Out, please feel free to. Thank you very much, all of you, for taking part today.
Thank you so much for having me.